Did you hear about labels asking a financial contribution to the artist in order to promote their music online with ads, adding the tracks on streaming playlists, pushing it on Beatport, etc.? What if I don't have any management, since I'm a small artist and I do all my releases myself? EDM, wow. Hey guys, welcome to the Kane audio vlog. It is Friday. It's time for another Ask Me Anything. Usual rules apply. Comment anything you want below this video and I'll get back to you in next week's video. Before I look at last week's video, is there any house admin? Not really. So my Bitwig for Beginners courses on Sonic Academy, I think I mentioned that last week. The Spotify playlist has not been updated this week. That may be subject to change by the time this video goes out. The dog agrees. I have just done another video for Sonic Academy, but I'll cover that closer to release date because I think it's next month. Other than that, don't think anything else has changed. It's been a fairly busy week, but nothing spectacular. Yeah. How are you? What's your week been like? It's again still a bit of a weird one. The views in these videos are still going less and less. So I'm at that point where I'm contemplating. So at the beginning of lockdown, I did stipulate that I was going to carry on doing these videos every week and just pretend that everything is normal. Everything is not normal. Lockdown has an impact. We're now in a second lockdown, and I'm very aware that there are less and less questions and views and whatever on these videos. When I'm talking about views, I'm talking about questions really. So I am well aware of that. Clearly, by the length of the video you're probably watching right now, is probably shorter than normal. And it's getting to a point where I'm not sure how much longer it's worth continuing. So watch this space, I guess. I might drop down to like fortnightly or monthly or something for the time being. And if it picks up, it picks up. Yeah, because there's no point flogging a dead horse, as they say. So there we go. Let's have a look at the first question. Fanfan87, salut Dom, mistake, high five. Question: did you hear about labels asking a financial contribution to the artist in order to promote their music online with ads, adding the tracks on streaming playlists, pushing it on Beatport, etc.? Is it a real thing out there? While signing on to labels, what do you bring to the label in addition to your music rights? Did they ask you money once? So no label has ever asked me for money. And if they did, I would laugh and walk away. It's just, I hope this isn't a real thing, but it really doesn't surprise me, if I'm honest. Look, the whole point of you signing your music to a record label is that they can do things that you can't. That should be the idea. So the reason I have signed lots of my music to Mousetrap is because Mousetrap have a huge fan base, and their syncs team, publishing team, promotions team, marketing team, all of that are fantastic at what they do, and the fans are brilliant as well. So it works to my advantage to release music on Mousetrap. They can do, you know, I'll be honest, I've launched my own small label this year with 5302, but 5302 won't be able to do as much for me as Mousetrap can, because Mousetrap are a much bigger and better record label. Let's not joke around here. However, if a label was asking me to put money towards their releases, whether that be my release or not, then what's the record label's job? Why would I give the record label money, rather than just spend my own money on my own music on my own label? So if I had to, put ads out for 5302 or whatever, then that's on me. That's my money going into it, not the artist. So I think if a record label is asking you for money for anything, then you need to ask, well, what is the record label doing? What's their job? What's their part in this? They're just putting it out? Well, anyone can do that. You can sign up to CD Baby or one of those sorts of aggregate companies and just put your music out for $10 or whatever it is. I don't know. So there's just no point. So first of all, it doesn't cost anything to push your music onto streaming playlists. If somebody is charging money for that, then it's a scam. Equally, it does not cost anything to push money on Beatport. To get advertising or a banner on Beatport does not cost money. If somebody is charging money for that, then it's a scam. And that's the way I see it. So the only marketing tools people can really pay for, look, I have seen adverts for, get 1,000 Spotify plays on your track or whatever. Well, those plays, I guarantee you, are going to be bots. They are not going to be real, because if they were real plays, they wouldn't be pay to play. Because, look, think about it. Anything that is pay to play only benefits the content creator or the playlist creator and not the consumer. And it's the consumer that dictates how many listens or plays something gets. So by which I mean, let's pretend there's a playlist on Spotify and it's called EDM Wow, and there's 10,000 followers of that playlist and it's all full of EDM bangers, and you've written a track, an EDM banger, and you want it to feature on this playlist, and if they say yep, $20, then are they putting any music from anyone that pays $20 or what? Because if it's pay to play, then anyone can do it, and in which case you could write any old garbage, pay $20 and get 1,000 plays. Well, great, but that doesn't mean anything, because the people who are willing to listen to an entire playlist of garbage, let's be honest, they're bots really. But even if they were real humans listening to playlists of garbage, they're not going to go, oh, this artist is good, I'll follow this artist and listen to their future releases. So for you as an artist to have your track in a playlist, it does you more damage than good, because you'll have 1,000 plays, but it means nothing because you haven't gained monthly followers. You haven't gained fans or admirers or people who respect your art. So in my opinion, paying for any of those sorts of things is just a waste of money, unless you're talking like serious money. And I don't even agree with this or condone it, but I'm aware that there are some companies that, or they used to be, I don't know if they're still around, but there used to be companies that would literally buy your track on Beatport and make it go number one or whatever, and then off the back of that you would have real people, because it was number one, it's the most visible track on the homepage, and in which case real people would then go, oh yeah, I like this too, and buy it. Well, that was the idea. And I know there were some record labels at the time of me knowing this, but there were some labels that were actually making some serious money off the back of it. They'd pay maybe I don't know, I'm making this up because I never did it, but let's say $1,000 they paid to go to number one or whatever on Beatport, and at the time a Beatport number one would probably make, you know, $2,000-3,000 a week. So if it got to number one, everybody would see it, it would stay at number one if it was a good track, and you know, there we go, it would make maybe 3, 4, 5,000 back. So technically it's worth the 1,000 to scam. But let's be honest, that's, I think, illegal, certainly fraudulent to some extent, and definitely not clever. So, you know, but that, I don't think that's what you're on about anyway. So yeah, so it's tricky. So one thing I will say is I have released stuff on Mousetrap and I've paid for my own Facebook advertising or marketing or whatever because I wanted to do it. It was on top of Mousetrap. Mousetrap will do their thing and I'll do my thing, and we'll both push everything together. That's fine. I've been fine with that because I chose to go, you know, I said, right, I've got extra faith in this EP. I think it, you know, needs to hit this market or whatever, and in which case that's fine. I've never spent huge amounts on it, I must admit, because I don't really truly believe that Facebook marketing gets you the right kinds of listens or likes or whatever it is you're after. If you're just after numbers, then yeah, fine. But I think viewers of this channel will see that I'm not about the numbers. Yeah, make of that what you want. Because I have been asked to give money once. Oh, here we go. Plus my track rights. So I don't know what to think about it. I think it's shit. That's what you should think about it. That's terrible. Nobody should be asking for money. And as you say, you know, you're handing over your rights anyway for a royalty. Well, if you want a royalty on music, then you shouldn't be paying them. They should be paying you. And, you know, look, there are lots of people out in the industry that are out there to just make money and scam people from their money. But let me tell you this, it was only a few weeks ago I was talking to an artist who was talking about another deal. I think I've mentioned this in a video around the time actually, but clearly I'm not going to mention names, but a label took one single for, I think it was £100,000, something like that, or 180, or it was, either way, it was a crazy amount of money. These things are still happening. There is still money in the industry. So if a record label is telling you they need you to give them money to be able to pay for whatever, then that's not a good record label, and that's not how it should operate. You know, the whole point of a record label is that they have a budget, albeit big or small, but they should have the budget to do their own marketing, and they should have the system in place. That's the whole point of having a record label, is they do all the distribution and accounting and everything for you, you know, in the same way as you would sign up to a publisher, because they have access to all the territories and everything that they need. So there we go. The argument was you have to invest into your music and seeing the label as a company. Yeah, I mean, the label is a company, but the label is the one making the investment in you as an artist. So it's not, you know, that doesn't work. You know, you can invest in yourself. You are already investing in yourself by making the music, by taking the time. The investment from the artist is already done by the track is finished. You know, I spent a month in the studio. You know, if you look at my album, I spent 2 years putting that together. That was my investment. All of that time and energy and knowledge and experience all pushed into one album. That's my investment. Pretending I don't own the record label, that is. If I signed it to a record label that someone else owned, then my investment is done at that point. The creation of the album is my investment. Everything else is just a bonus. Like I say, clearly I, as an artist, also want to push stuff and promote stuff and whatever. So I'm happy to do my own advertising or whatever separate to the label. But the label need to do their own, because otherwise, don't sign it to the label. What are they giving you? You know, what's their investment? And if they're not investing anything, then you may as well release it yourself and invest in that. So there we go. Have a great Let's Bet coffee. You're right, it is a coffee. Since we're still in lockdown. And Maran Rados. Hi Dom, thank you for answering my question. I'm glad to hear it from someone with actual experience with bigger labels. Thank you for getting into detail with your answer and have a great weekend. Mistake. High five. Oh yeah, I almost forgot my question. What if I don't have any management, since I'm a small artist and I do all my releases myself? I self-release. Will the label find that bad, or how will they react to that? They won't care. A label, I think, in most cases, let's again talk about Mousetrap because they're probably the most obvious example if you're watching my videos. They will sign things on a track by track basis. I think it's only if you're signing on to like a 360 management deal that they'll take you on as an actual artist and want multiple albums or whatever from you. And in which case that might be a slightly different situation, but really it doesn't matter whether you've had one release or 1,000 releases historically. It shouldn't really impact where you move forward with a label. Clearly they don't want you releasing on other labels a week before their release, but that's a question of timing, not politics really. As for management, if you don't have management, you don't need management. Management is a weird one. I think everybody seems to think that you need management to get gigs, which in a way is kind of true, but actually it needs to be it's a two-way street. You need to be already gigging first. You need, your management. Really, you only really want management when you've got the leverage, when you've got the ball in your court is the best time to find management. So that means you are already releasing with loads of labels and big labels. You're already making money from your music. You're already maybe gigging or touring or whatever, and you're maybe working on an album or whatever. That's the good time to find management, when you've got so much going on that you can't manage it. And that's what management should be for, is for managing that time and making everything efficient and blah blah blah. If you're not in that situation, then don't look for management. If you're being offered a management deal when you don't currently have loads of gigs booked and you're not snowed under with loads of work, then I would question why that management is even signing you in the first place, because it sounds like they're probably going to get more from you than you'll get from them. There are lots of companies, and I've had this discussion with someone else this week actually about publishing companies, but the same rules apply. There are lots of companies out there, be it publishing or management or whatever, and they just sign everyone and everything and hope that one of them becomes famous and then they can just leech off that. That's not good business management. For me personally, dragging it back to 5302, I want to be in control of that catalogue. I want to be massively proud of the entire catalogue. So I will not sign a track that doesn't work for me, that doesn't make me happy. Similarly with any artists or anything like that, it's got to be something I'm passionate about. Also, how do you find a good management? Are there any requirements and so on? What to look out for? Again, because I know that sadly in many cases people get screwed up by their management, which is quite sad, and nobody would want that happening to them. Of course, thanks ahead and cheers. So in terms of things to look out for, it's kind of a tricky one to answer because I think it's different for different people. So I don't think there's any real one generic answer to that. But I think the biggest thing, much like record labels, the biggest thing you need to look out for is they need to be passionate about you. Any good salesperson will be passionate about their product. A management team or manager or whatever is a salesman, and you are the product. They're selling you to whatever, record labels to venues to promoters to whatever it is, you know, they're selling you. You are their product, and they need to be super passionate about that. You know, we've all dealt with car sales people or whatever that have just not, you can tell they're just not into their job, and you end up just going, I don't really want to buy this thing, you know, or a cashier in a shop or whatever. And no disrespect to them, because they're not paid enough to care really, so I don't blame them at all. But you know, how many salespeople do you speak to in a specialist shop or something, and the person just doesn't really have the time of day for you, and you end up walking out of there going, well, I don't even want that thing now, whatever that thing was. You know, whereas if you walk into a shop and the person is super passionate about what they're selling, you can see it, you can hear it in their voice, and that makes other people excited about that product, and that has a huge impact. So if you're looking for a booking agent, a manager, a publisher, a record label, they need to be excited about your work. They need to be passionate about you and your work, and you know, the package as a product, which is you. You know, they need to want to sell that to the world, because that's the biggest clue for me. That's the biggest clue that they're going to at least do their best, no matter what. There's no guaranteed success from any of these things, but at least, you know, if someone's really passionate about your music or whatever it is that they're selling, you know, like I say, you know that they're at least going to give it their best. And I think that's probably the most important thing to look out for. And I guess the other thing is to try and find a history in the industry. They don't need to have a massive track record in, you know, if it's a management, for example, you know, they don't need to have 20 number one hit singles under their belt. But if they don't have those obvious things, then you need to try and make sure that they have been in the industry for a long time, that they know what they're doing, that they have connections, that they have, you know, I've known some managers who have been very new to the scene and they've done great things, but I couldn't have ever predicted that. Whereas I've known other managers who have got 20 years experience of touring, of being a tour manager, of running a label, of running a marketing team, of running a graphics design team. And I've known these people to then eventually go, I'm going to become an artist manager. And they've used all of that experience to bring into the management role. And you know, when it's something like that, I can sort of look at it and go, yeah, he's going to be good. You know, so yeah, hopefully that helps, I think. Yeah, and unfortunately a lot of people do get screwed, and this is why I say only sign up to a management team when you've already got too much work to handle yourself, because otherwise you're in a weaker position. You shouldn't be asking them, they should be coming to you. They should be asking you if you want management, not the other way around. If you're in a position where you're looking for a manager and thinking that they're going to get you the work in the first place, think again. You probably don't need a manager at that point. I've had a couple of managers in my time, and none of them have really worked out. None of them have got me work that I couldn't have got myself, which is why I now do everything myself. It's just, you know, and partly because, similar to what I said earlier on about, you know, having experience in different parts of the industry, I'm kind of old enough and wise enough to get most of it done myself these days. So there we go. It's not too much of an issue. That, my friends, is it. Quick and easy this week. Like I say, I'll keep an eye on this. Let's hope that more questions come in. As usual, please do like, subscribe, comment, share. The sharing these videos is probably more important than anything else, especially while we're in lockdown too, because again, like, you know, people kind of change their routines and whatever, and everything goes out the window. So yeah, there we go. I really don't think I have anything else to say. So if you've made it this far into the video, comment the word stock, because I can see there's a live streaming stock market video here. Ooh. Comment the word stock and you'll get a high five in next week's video. Other than that, I hope you have a good weekend and a good week, and I'll see you same time next week. Cheers.